All right, here we go. So make sure your water's accessible, your towel's accessible. Take your blocks, put them at the front of your mat. Highest height to start, we're gonna use them, okay? I'm gonna ask you to start on your knees, feet together, knees wide. Sit your butt back down towards your heels and extend your arm for a child's pose. Let your head sink down towards the mat. Press your palms into the mat. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Straighten out the arms. Really press into the hands. Press into the inner corners of those hands. And then straighten out the elbows. Find some pressure through the arms, through the biceps and the triceps, through the side bodies, and then use that pressure to sink the butt a little bit more close to the heels. Really waking up the hips, waking up the buttocks. Take a deep breath in and out. One more time, in and out. Start to walk the hands back towards you. We're just gonna wake up our feet because waking up our feet is very important to start our practice. We're gonna do that by moving into the first Vajrasana. So if you take a look at me, what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your knees together, you're gonna tuck your toes so that all 10 toes are tucked under. Bring your heels together and then start to sit your weight back. And if your butt doesn't touch your heels, you're gonna grab a block, put it between your butt and your heels so that you can sit your weight down on your feet, opening up the backs of your feet. So just take a deep breath in, stay here, deep breath out, and it might start to get a little bit intense. That's okay. It's not an easy posture to do. When you're ready, when you can't take it anymore in the bottom of your feet, you're gonna move out of that posture. You're just gonna untuck your toes, let your toes point back behind you. Otherwise, you're gonna take your other block and we're gonna work on our upper body and some of the stuff it's gonna be doing in our standing postures. Take the block out in front of you on the longest width and then palms around the block. Take an inhale and on the exhale, squeeze the block. Keep the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. See if you can straighten out your elbows as much as you can. Take an inhale. On an exhale, bring the block up overhead. See if you can straighten the arms out more. See if you can find length through the side bodies. And then pull the belly button in towards the spine. Pull the pubic bone up towards the belly button up towards the sternum. Arms get a little bit longer. Maybe look up. Maybe relax the shoulders down, keeping the arms strong. Keep squeezing the block. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. If you haven't untucked the toes yet, do that. Come over to all fours and just tap out the feet, tap out the feet, tap out the feet. Now we're gonna open up the backs of the legs, so you're gonna bring the block to the highest height in front of your knees. Bring the heels of your hands to the block. And then just come to a forward fold. Maybe feet are about hips width distance apart. Bend the knees generously until the belly touches the thighs. And then lean the weight into the hands. Take a halfway lift. Flatten the back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Your back should be flat. Take an inhale. On the exhale, start to straighten out the knees. So press your feet into the ground and straighten out your knees. Imagine you can push the backs of your knees into a wall behind you. Breathe here, opening up the hamstrings. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice. Find your other block. Take your blocks to the highest height at the front of the mat. Make fists. Put your fists into the block. Step your right foot between the blocks. Step your left foot back as far as you can. You're coming to a nice long lunge here. And just start to rock back and forth, finding some buoyancy and really finding some opening in this left hip flexor. Take this stance as long as you can take it. And then when you can't take it any longer, let the back knee hover above the mat. So bend it down, don't let it touch the mat, and then bring the right hand to the right hip crease. Pull the hip crease back, let the left come forward. So you're squaring your hips, left hip comes forward, right comes back. and then drop the knee all the way down to the ground, the back knee. Grab that block, reach the block up to the sky, put it between your hands, squeeze the block, keep your arms as straight as possible. Keep the shoulders relaxing down away from the ears, and now put your mind in your right hip, pull it back, let your left hip come forward. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really nice. Take the block down. Frame the front foot with the blocks. Press your hands into the blocks, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, step your back foot up. And then just switch it out. Send the right all the way to the back. Ooh, my mat got a little wrinkled. Press your palms into the blocks. And now broaden the collarbone, lean the chest forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and rock back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until you find that nice long stance and that opening in your right hip flexor. So this one this time. And now, when you can't take that stance any longer, bend the right knee, let it hover above the mat, and then bring the left thumb to the left hip crease. Pull it back, let the right come forward. Now your hips are square. Let the back knee drop all the way to the ground now. Grab the right block, reach it up to the sky. Squeeze the block, arms are straight, relax the shoulders. Belly is strong. Take an inhale, and on an exhale, see if you can sink a little bit deeper into the front knee, really opening up your right hip flexor even more. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job. Replace the block. Push palms onto the block, tuck back toes, lift back knee, look forward, lean weight forward, right foot comes to meet left. Beautiful. Bring the block to the second highest height in front of your feet. Other block goes off to the side. Bend your knees generously once again. Bring the heels of the hands to the blocks. And then take that half lift as you straighten out your elbows, straighten out your legs, lean the weight forward, open up the backs of your legs again. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Bend your knees generously, almost to a chair pose. Bring your hands to your hips. Stack shoulders on top of hips. Take an inhale. Exhale, press your legs straight. Bring your hands to heart center. Bring your feet together. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. All right. We're going to start to work on some of our standing poses now. So we're not going to do really any chaturangas through this practice. Maybe we'll pop into a down dog, but we're really just going to focus on the mechanics of our standing poses. You've got your blocks on the ground. Take them to frame your feet. Take an inhale and reach your arms up to sky. Exhale, bend the knees, nipples towards knees, forward fold, hands to the ground, and then straighten out the legs on the inhale. Flat back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Press your palms into the block. Step your left foot all the way to the back of the mat, long runner's lunge. Stay in that runner's lunge. Press your fists into the blocks. Put your mind in your hips and square them. And now we're going to move towards a warrior 1. So what does that mean? My back left foot, the whole thing is going to ground down. The toes are going to go at 45 degrees towards the top left corner of the mat. I'm going to bring my hands to my hips, and then I'm going to come up with my torso, stack my shoulders on top of my hips. Now I'm going to move my block so you can see what's going on. I'm going to come out of the bend in my right knee a little bit. And then I'm going to think about my hips. Like this, I'm going to pull my right hip back and guide my left hip forward. And then I'm really going to straighten out my back leg more than I think I need to. Make the whole back foot flush with the mat. Pushing into the pinky edge side of that back foot. And now I'm going to bring my gaze down to my right knee. I'm going to start to bend into my right knee, keeping it in line with my second and third toe. Then I'm going to think about my hips again. My hands are still on my hips. I'm going to pull my right hip back, guide my left hip forward. Hands are still on my hips. Roll my shoulders up towards my ears. Exhale them down my back. Squeeze my shoulder blades together. And now I'm going to take the arms. So imagine you have the block between your hands, but this time just reach your hands up to sky. Find energy through the elbows, straighten out the arms as much as you can. Keep the shoulders relaxed down away from your ears. Press the hands together. Imagine there's a block between them. Maybe you bring the palms all the way together. Press the palms together. Look up to the sky. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice. Bring your hands back down to your hips. Come back to a lunge. Come to your back toes. Find your blocks. And then step the left foot up to meet the right. Block in front of your feet, shortest height. Press palms into blocks, halfway lift, straighten out the legs, flatten the back. And then bend the knees generously until the belly touches the thighs. Hands to your hips, stack shoulders on top of hips, push the legs straight, and bring the feet together. Other side. Inhale, reach up high. Exhale, bend your knees, nipples towards knees, forward fold. Straighten out the legs, halfway lift. Hands back to the blocks. This time step the right all the way back to the mat. Find the long runner's lunge. So your front foot is parallel with the long edge side of the mat, and we're going to come to a warrior one. So your back foot, your right foot, you're going to let the heel find the mat, and your toes are going to point at 45 degrees towards the top right corner of the mat. Bring your hands to your hips, stack your shoulders on top of hips. Think about your back foot to start, and come out of the bend in the front knee a little bit. Push into the pinky edge side of the back foot and straighten out the back knee. Use that energy to guide the right hip forward, the left hip back. Pull the pubic bone up towards the belly button, shoulders up towards the ears, relax them down the back. Gaze comes to the front left knee, and then start to bend into the front knee, keeping it in line with the second and third toe. Your legs are strong. You're pushing into the back foot. You're pulling the left hip back. Same thing, reach your arms up to sky now. Straighten out your elbows as much as you can. Maybe you bring the palms together. Maybe your gaze goes up. You breathe here in your warrior one, your Virabhadrasana one. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Bring your hands back to your hips. Come to your back toes. Hands find the blocks, reach the blocks forward, step the right foot up to meet the left. Excellent. All right. Bring the blocks to the highest height, palms to blocks. Take a halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. All right, so now we're gonna move into Warrior Two. Warrior Two is a little bit different than Warrior One. Okay, and I'm gonna show you how. So in Warrior One, we talked about your foot being at your back foot being at 45 degrees pointing towards the top corner of the mat, same side as the foot that's back. In Warrior Two, your back foot is going to be parallel to the short edge side of the mat, and this is an open stance. So in Warrior One, you're trying to get both hips pointing forward. Warrior Two, hips are open and facing the side. All right, so you're going to bring your hands back down to your blocks. You're going to take your halfway lift, inhale, halfway lift, and you're going to step your left foot all the way to the back of the mat, and you're going to take your blocks with you, and you're going to pivot all 10 toes towards the left. So it's a nice wide-legged stance. Put your blocks down in front of your feet. You might need them. I just want to make sure you can see my back foot, so I'm actually going to put them here. But just put them somewhere that's easy access to you. Bring your hands to your hips and then look down at your feet. You should have a nice long stance here so that you're starting to feel your groins open just in this position. And it should be about at least one of the lengths of your legs between your 2 feet. Look at your back left foot, make sure it's parallel to the short edge side of the mat, and keep it there. And then start to lean weight into the pinky edge side as you straighten out your back left knee. Then look at your right ankle. Keep your hands on your hips. Keep your hips facing the long edge side of the mat. Come to your right heel. Think about rotating the entire thigh from the hip socket and turning the right foot out. So your right toes are facing the front of the mat. Your back foot is facing the long edge side of the mat. Keep your hands on your hips. Keep your hip points open. Shoulders up towards ears. Exhale them down the back and then look at your right knee. Start to bend into your right knee, keeping it in line with the second and third toe. Keep pushing into the back left foot, the pinky edge side of that foot. Shoulders up towards the ears, broaden the collarbone, exhale them down the back. The belly is strong. And now you're gonna extend your arms to the height of your shoulders. Bring your palms up. Let your palms be up. Let your biceps be strong. Let your triceps be strong. Take an inhale here. Keep those soft parts of the elbows up and see if you can just, from your wrists, rotate, flip your palms down. Sink into the front knee. Make sure it's not caving in or pulling out. Make a fist with your front hand, your right hand. Put it to the outside of the thigh. Push your right thigh into the fist. Feel your groins open. Keep that engagement. Just bring the fist now inside of the thigh. Push into that fist. Really feel the entire thigh light up. And then replace the arm. Extend it nice and long. Sink as deep into the front knee as you can. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands to your hips. Straighten out your front leg. Parallel your feet. Maybe heel toe the feet in a little bit. Take a little bend into the front knees. Bring the heels of your hands to the blocks. Lean the weight forward. Open up the backs of the legs. Just breathe here. Oof. It is hot in here and I am sweating. I don't know if you guys can see it from where you are or where I am. All right, we're gonna do the other side now. So actually, I think I might move the camera over just so that you can get an appreciation for what's going on the left. So let's move it over here. Hopefully you'll be able to see from about the same angle that we were at before, right around here. Let's see how this goes. All right, little break there. So we're still in this wide-legged stance. Hands are on our hips. Now we're gonna look at our back right foot and we're gonna keep it parallel to the short edge side of the mat. Press into the pinky edge side of that foot. Keep the right leg nice and straight and strong, and then look at the left. Come to the heel, turn the entire leg out so that the toes are facing the short edge side of the mat on the left. Hands are still on your hips. Maybe use your fingertips to pull your hip points apart from one another and make sure your stance is nice and long. If you don't feel an opening in your groins, wiggle that back foot back a little bit. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears, exhale them down the back, nice broad collarbone, and then keep your gaze on your left knee as you start to bend into the left knee, keeping it in line with the second and third toe. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, broad collarbone, release them down. Keep your belly strong and then extend your arms. Seeing if you can keep the soft part up, the palms down, shoulders relaxed, triceps and biceps engaged. Sink as deep as you can into the front knee without allowing it to jut out in front of the ankle. Feel the groins open. You're here for 3, for 2, and 1. Bring your hands back to your hips. Straighten out the front leg. Parallel the feet. Blocks are right in front of you. You can use 1 or 2 blocks. Hands to blocks. Bend the knees. Flatten the back. Half lift. Take a deep breath in. And forward fold. Maybe grab opposite elbows. Let gravity take you down towards the ground. All right, bring your hands back to the blocks. Use them as a guide. Heel toe the feet in towards one another. I need to get my towel because it is getting hot in here. Whew. They said this would be 20 minutes. That's about 20 minutes on Warrior 1 and Warrior 2. So let's just cool it down a little bit. Not a super long practice, but probably challenging and probably something you'll feel in your legs tomorrow. So come down to your knees. Bring your hands to your hips. Extend your right leg out into a lunge. And then bring your blocks so that they are just in line with the right heel. Lift your back toes, wiggle the back knee back just a little bit, and then start to guide your hips back, half split. Flex your right toes towards your nose. Bring your palms onto the blocks. Push your palms into the blocks. And now imagine you can drag your right heel right into the hip socket. So same action we did. Left hip forward, right hip back. Lean the chest down towards the toes. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From here, we're going to take it to Gomgukhasana legs. So you're going to take your right. You're going to cross it over your left knee, open up the feet, and then just sit the butt back. This should feel pretty good on the outside of the right leg. Take a block, reach it forward, heels of the hands to the block, just lean the chest down towards that right front knee. Feel the opening in the outside of the right buttock. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the block to the right. Let your right foot come to the ground. Let your right hand come to the ground. Reach your left up. Take a twist on the exhale. Let the hand find the block. Maybe you reach it out. Right hand back. Just helps you find a little traction. Getting a nice little spinal twist here. And then come out of it, uncross the legs, come back to your knees, left foot forward this time. So you're in a nice lunge. Walk the blocks back, fists into blocks, tuck the back toes, walk the back knee back, and then start to straighten into the front leg. Flex the toes towards the nose. Walk the blocks back, push the palms into blocks, pull the left back, right forward, lean the chest towards the toes. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Come up out of it, Gomgukhasana on this side. So cross the left knee over the right, open up the feet, let the butt sit back between the feet, bring a block out in front of you, heels of hands to the blocks, push hands into the blocks, pull the chest towards the left knee. Feel the opening in the left and the right buttock. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Same thing, bring the block to the left. Let the sole of the left foot come to the ground. Left fingertips behind you, right up to the sky. Take your twist. Maybe your hand finds that block to help you deepen your twist. Take an inhale for height and grounding through the butt, and exhale to twist deeper. And unwind. All right. Extend the legs out nice and long in front of you. Take the fleshy part from out of your butt. Bend your knees generously. Grab onto the outsides of the legs, somewhere that feels easy for you. And then let your nipples come towards your knees. Let your belly touch your thighs. Keep your back flat, shoulders relaxed down away from your ears, and maybe then you reach a little bit farther on your legs down towards your feet, wherever feels good, and then start to actively press your heels away from you, straightening out the backs of the legs, opening up your hamstrings. One more time. Take an inhale. Maybe take a little tug on the exhale, pull the chest a little closer to the toes. And then release. Blocks off to the side. You can bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees come out wide, and if this feels like a little bit much, you can take the blocks underneath the thighs on either side, and then relax yourself down. Supta Baddha Konasana. I like to grab opposite elbows overhead and pull my elbows away from me so that it turns into a tiny little upper back bend before I rest my forearms down to the ground. Softening the space between the eyes, softening the jaw, everywhere I can. Letting this be the final rest of my standing posture practice. And next breath, you're going to release the arms, let them come up overhead. Close the knees like a book, bring the soles of the feet to the ground. Let your backs of your arms, your elbows come to the ground. And then guide yourself up to a comfortable seat, crossing your legs, sitting up nice and tall. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale them down the back. And bring your hands to heart center. You can flutter your eyes open if they're not already. Great job today working on our standing postures, standing lunges, warrior one and warrior two, fundamental postures of any yoga practice. And I'm very grateful that you allowed me to teach those to you today. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at theyogaroom@gmail.com. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram @theyogaroom. And maybe I'll see you on the mat at Hotbox. Have a good one.